Welcome to Straight Out of Savannah, Talking with Tammi, a podcast that showcases people you may not know who are choosing to use their gifts to inspire and move the planet.
Thank you so much for joining us for Straight Out of Savannah, Talking with Tammi, with my guest, Dr. Craig Wright. He's an amazing, amazing man. He's going to share everything about him with you today, all that we can talk about in 20 minutes. Dr. Wright, take it away.
Good day. Thank you for having me. I'm going to be talking about numerology. Numerology is the study of numbers and letters, and it's based on the belief that the world was created by the word of God. Words, of course, are vibrations. Right now, I'm vibrating the air, and we've been trained to use letters and numbers as symbols for those vibrations. So one of the first things you have to learn about numerology is numbers are different from figures. If I hold up a pen and I say I have one pen in my hand, that would be a figure. Oops. But if I look a little closer and say, big pens are number one, now I'm not talking about a quantity, but a quality of being the best, the first, the fastest, the top, the best. Everyone knows what it means to be number one, but every number has a meaning. The number 2 stands for peace. The number 3 stands for expression in youth, singing, painting, dancing, writing. The number 4 stands for work and order. 5 is a symbol for freedom. 6 is a symbol for service. 7 is faith. 8 is money and power. And the number 9 is a symbol for selfless giving. So when we study the letters in our name, what we're really studying is our destiny. We're learning why we are here. The letters in our name define or provide us with information in that regard. When you look at the numbers in your birthday, you're discovering your gifts, talents, skills, and abilities. I do a workshop called the Jeremiah Effect. The prophet Jeremiah said, before we're formed in the womb, we have a contract with God. So with numerology, you can determine your contract. Your birthday reveals the gifts God has given you, and your name reveals what you've promised back. So as a numerologist, I'm blessed to be able to share with people their prenatal agreement. And there's nothing more empowering than that, to get that feeling that I'm living my purpose. I know what my gifts are, I know what my talents are, and I know where I'm going. I've got blinders on, I'm focused, and I can move full speed ahead. So that's the benefit of studying numerology. And I tell people all the time, I love my work because most people talk about problems. I get to meet the people who are here to solve those problems.
That is powerful.
Yeah, I believe that every issue that we're dealing with, there's an answer to it. But the people who are holding the answer have to step up. They have to have that faith. They have to have that courage and that inner guidance. A lot of times, people who have the answers are being discouraged by the outer world. They're meeting people that are telling them, you can't do this, you can't do that. Who do you think you are? You'll never succeed. But it's about self-concept. So you can't listen to what other people are telling you. You have to know thyself, and to thine own self be true. And that's what numerology allows us to do.
Oh, wow. That is so powerful. So we're going to get into, how did you get here? How did you discover numerology was a path for you?
Okay, well, that's a good question. I didn't grow up thinking, hey, I'm going to be a numerologist. I didn't know what it was, never heard of it. But I did have a proficiency for math and science. When I was young, in the 7th grade, my first report card, I got A's in math and A's in science. And my parents decided I was going to be an engineer. So they kept giving me more classes in summertime, more math, more science. So I was prepared to be an engineer. I wanted to fly aircraft. Um, in the seventh grade, I could tell you every jet the Navy had, what their armament was, the caliber of their machine guns. I was prepared to go to war. But when I was in college, my best friend died from a drug overdose. And I didn't even know he was using. So it taught me I was being too self-contained. I wasn't paying attention to anything around me. And I really felt like if I had known, I could have done something to prevent it. So I was just in a state of wondering, why am I here? What's the meaning of life? Up until then, I thought I was an atheist. I didn't believe in anything except numbers and math and science. But when that happened, I began to pray for the first time and ask the Creator, why am I here? If it's going to be this painful, take me now. I've had enough of this. But it was in that state of wanting to know that I heard a song. The song was by Roy Ayers on an album called Everybody Loves the Sunshine. But the song that I heard was called In Search of the Third Eye. And that was my introduction to metaphysics, spirituality, and my introduction to the science of God. When I got the book, it talked about the secret of numbers. And I discovered after reading the book that I was a number 7. And my mission in life was to study the meaning of life and share it with others. So I was like, oh my goodness, that's what I'm doing. So I began to come out of my deep depression and my sorrow, and I realized my friend had a contract with God before we were formed in the womb, and that contract was he was going to have a short experience this time, and it was going to be a trigger for me. And that is what changed my life.
Mm.
I dedicated my life to the study of numbers, and that was over 40 years ago. So when I first started, it wasn't well received. I knew I found the answer. I wanted to tell people around me, I found the answer. Look at this. And they would run away from me. They thought I lost my mind. And oh my goodness, what's going on? So I began to ask God, so why'd you show me this stuff and make people afraid of me? And he said, just study all you can about it. So I started going to the Library of Congress. There was no internet. There was no Google,
Yeah.
no Amazon. I started going to the Library of Congress, getting books that you couldn't take out. You had to just stay there and read it. So for weeks, instead of going to work, I used my vacation to go sit in the Library of Congress and
Wow.
study the ancient texts about numerology. Now
And
you
no
can go to,
phone to take pictures while you in
there were no cell
no
phones.
cell phones, right?
They hadn't been invented yet.
I was gonna say that would have been my first thing. It's like, okay, if I got to stay in here, let me get my phone. I'm gonna take pictures of the pages, then come back, a few days and take more pictures.
No, you filled out cards. You couldn't even go to the shelves. You filled out cards. You looked at the catalog, filled out what you wanted, and you gave it to a runner. And they went back into the files and came back with these old dusty books. And that's how I started studying about numerology, how the Western philosophy gives credit to the Greeks. But the Greeks give credit to the Africans. They studied with the great Africans in the mystery schools of Egypt. And so I began to study that and began to understand what was going on. And then I would have opportunity to share with people. I'd be in a checkout line or um, shopping, and I would hear someone mention their birthday. And that was always my clue. I would say, oh God, you want me to share this information with them? And I would hesitate, but I would share it. They were like, yeah, okay. And then later people would come back and say stuff like, well, how did you know? You told me this money was going to come home. When I got home, it was in my mailbox. How did you know? You told me I was going to get a promotion. How did you know? So after that happened, a lot of times I start talking to people. They got a little more receptive. If you throw a drowning person a lifesaver, they'll grab a hold onto it. They're not going to
Right.
reject it. So eventually, I had an opportunity to do a radio show with a lady named Reverend Hazell Cassell. She's out of Virginia.
Hmm.
And I was very naive at the time. I didn't know it, but she gave my phone number out. Well, now I expect people to give out my phone number on my website, but then I didn't have a website. I didn't have a business. I was just some guy who God had told about this science, and I was sharing information as best as I could with people. So she gave my phone number out on the air. You can reach Craig at.
Oh, shit. Oh my
So
God.
I had to create readings and forecasts and set up consultation fees and compatibility reports. I had to respond to the demand to create a business so I could put this information and material that people could accept and benefit from it. So
So
that's
basically,
that's how
go ahead.
that's how I became a numerologist. Nobody told me about it. Nobody said anything. Nobody gave me any books. I was just guided through yearning to know the meaning of life and why I was here. And I was my first client. And then I began to be able to share with others the fact that it's true. We are literally the living word of God. Numerology has been around some 4,000 years. It predates letters, numbers predate letters, and information in the scriptures, the Bible, the Quran, the Bhagavad Gita, the Circle Seven, all of them talk about numbers. The fourth book of the Bible is called Numbers.
Yeah.
In Psalms 90, verse 12, Moses says, teach us to number our days so we can apply our hearts to wisdom.
Mm-hmm.
The number 40 shows up all the time. It's about God setting up a new order. When you hear about the number 40, 4 stands for orderliness, and 0 in numerology is a symbol for God. So I tell people if somebody calls you a 0, just say thank you very much. Because 0 is
You said
symbolize you have spiritual qualities. So
the
the
Bible
number
says ye
3,
are gods, right?
yes. The number 3 shows up in the story of Christ, from 3 being sought by 3 wise men to arising on the third day. So numbers reveal quite a bit, but we just take them for granted. We don't realize
Yes.
they are symbols, and the information that we need is at hand. So if you want to study the written word, the Bible's fine, the Quran. But if you want to study the living word, if you want to know yourself as the living word, numerology is the way to go.
So were you raised in the church or was that?
As a matter of fact, no, I wasn't.
Wow.
I was raised, and my mom took me to the Baltimore Ethical Society, and it was an organization formed by Felix Adler in New York City. They have branches all around the United States, but it's humanism. They
Okay.
believe you should do the right thing because it's the right thing to do, not because you get some reward and go to heaven. So many people there were atheists, such as myself. They did not believe in heaven or God or any type of reward was waiting for us, things like that. So no, it came as a complete shock to me that God was, and that we are the living word.
That is like so awesome to me because
Yeah. I'm
even
glad you mentioned
I was that's the beautiful thing about being virtual. That's what I love about it. I don't know if you heard my out my back was a car alarm going off because I live in the back of a Chevy dealership. Yeah. But anyway, that to me is so awesome because generally, in our culture,
Yes.
people are, deep in the church, especially even as far I say north as Baltimore. That's what people did. They went to church, Methodist, whatever. So the fact that you were raised going to the ethical society, that is like so amazing. It almost, it almost is like how it had to be for you in order to get to this place where you are.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. I had to discover it on my own.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I know it's true. This
Exactly.
isn't something somebody told me or brainwashed me with, or quite the opposite. Quite the opposite. I was told, don't believe in that stuff, just but do the right thing anyway. You know?
Even though the right thing for you is believing in that stuff, right?
Exactly. That's how it turned out. It was funny. I saw a movie and it was called The Chosen One. And it
Mm-hmm.
was about a guy whose father was a minister, but he had a friend who wasn't. And he was to play with his friend all the time, and he wanted to play with his friend. His dad had him going to services and going to church. Long story short, the guy who was the son to the minister didn't become the minister, but the guy who was his friend did.
Oh yeah, I think I saw that movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, he kind of resented him a little bit, the son,
Mm-hmm.
because the friend actually was like a son to the father.
That's how it worked out.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
exactly.
And the thing is that you think about it, that was a movie, but I'm sure that's many true stories.
Yes,
Because a lot of times you don't appreciate what you have right there. We don't
exactly.
appreciate it. We just we're looking around for the next big thing, but we don't realize what we have right here is golden, you
Yes,
know. And I think about that because I remember that movie too, because it's like the friend realized that the father was golden, and
mm-hmm.
that he was going to help him, to get where he needed to get. But the son didn't realize it. So I have one question. When you encounter somebody on this journey, somebody that is on the journey to, what I say is on the journey to understanding the God of their own understanding. Um, because I actually was raised religious and I had to step back from that because I just believed that they put God in a box, so and it's not the huge God that we know.
Yes,
But if somebody was on their journey and they're here and they're at this place where they're at a crossroads and they're trying to understand, what advice would you give them, or what advice would you give them?
well, I would refer them to Psalms 90, verse 12. And Psalms 90, verse 12 reads, teach us to number our days so we can apply our hearts to wisdom. Like I said, it's for me, the numbers don't lie. When I had classes in school, they would tell me I before E except after C. The vowels are A, E, I, O, U, but sometimes Y. But one and one was always two. So numbers, it's they're solid, they're dependable. The numbers don't lie. There's scriptural reference to numbers. The fourth book of the Bible is numbers. Um, Moses was a numerologist. Jesus was a changed names of his disciples. There's lots of evidence of the reoccurring of numbers in the Bible. In fact, the characters in the Bible, if you study them, the numbers in their name, it'll tell you about the type of experience you're going to have. So I would tell them that if they're having any doubts or if they need confirmation, that this is a way that they can get.
Awesome, that is powerful. So now, do
And I
you
tell
do?
them to get in touch with me.
That's what I was going to say. Do you do courses, or do you do mentorship or anything like that?
Yes, I have classes, workshops. I also offer a series of readings, consultations, and forecasts. In fact, um, anyone who's listening to the podcast, if they mention that they saw me on the podcast and they request a 6-month forecast, I'll give them additional 6 months at no additional cost. And you can get to my webpage and all my social media sites at www.linktr.ee / I am Dr. Craig, or visit my website. It's my name, CraigEWright.com.
Awesome.
CR CraigEwright.com.
I'm laughing because I usually do that at the end. Let you tell people how to contact you, but that was perfect. We'll also have that in the bio, in the linked
Great.
description as well. That way they can see it when they watch the podcast or listen to it or whatever. Because it's going to
Okay.
be on YouTube and on Anchor FM as well. So they'll be able to access it either way, audio or visual, whichever one. But I'll definitely put those links in there because we know that Dr. Wright is someone to be reckoned with. He's such an amazing numerologist. The things that he shared with me before we even came on was so powerful that I knew we had to get him on here. And I believe that I'm going to have to do something else with him because there's another collaboration that we're going to do. He doesn't know
Okay.
that, but
Okay.
but I'm feeling it in my spirit, so I thought I would just put it out there.
Sounds
But
good.
this has been such an amazing conversation, and I really, really, really believe that I want to ask Dr. Wright one more question. I need to know, when you are looking at clients and people that you serve and that you work with, what is your ideal client look like? What is the type of client that generally that lights you up that you like to work with?
My ideal client is someone who is seeking to manifest God's will in their life. That's my ideal client. Someone who is seeking to manifest God's will in their life.
That's perfect. That is perfect. Um, so generally, when people find you, what is it that they want the most? What are they seeking the most? Not seeking, but what is it that they're looking for the most?
Knowledge of self. Most people are seeking to know why they're here. See, what I found is my test has become my testimony. So, in the same manner in which I was seeking to know why I was here and my meaning and my purpose of life, now people are seeking me out for the same reasons.
Mm, wow. I think that's something that actually does happen when we get a calling such as this on our life, because a lot of times I believe that we are the example. We are the template for people, and sometimes I don't think we're aware of that. And then at times, like you just said, you are. So when did you become aware of the fact that you are a template, that you were an example for, as, and I think of it as Christ is an example.
Oh,
So are we?
yes. Well, I became aware when I discovered numerology, I was my first client
Uh-huh.
because I was seeking to know why I was here and seeking to know the meaning of life. And by studying my name and my birthday, I discovered I was a number 7. And 7 is a number of faith and wisdom. And when I say I was a number 7, I mean my the letters in my name were a 7. My birthday, the numbers in my birthday added up to number 7. My vow total was a number 7. And the year I was born, 1951, 1 plus 9 plus 5 plus 1 adds up to 16, and 1 plus 6 is 7. So I had a
Yes.
concentration of number 7 energy. And yeah, that was life changing. I began to understand why I was here. It explained a lot.
Yes. 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 Um, so now, do you feel like if people would be conscious and understand why they're here, you think it will help them to move to their destiny in life? Because I do believe that so many people have no idea why they are here. They have no consciousness of God or, higher power, whatever you want to believe. I mean, whatever it works for you. But they have no consciousness, so they don't know, why they're here. Do you think that that's something that will help us to um, awaken this planet?
I definitely do. The Greeks put it best. There's a Greek saying which they got off of the halls of the temples and the mystery schools of Egypt. Know thyself, and to thine own self be true. So it's a simple formula for living a fulfilled life. But where are the tools? What tools do we have to really know who we are, to know thyself? And numerology is the only tool that I know of that really looks at people as being the living word. That's the foundation of it. It looks at the letters in your name, which are symbols. It's like a musician. A musician uses letters for notes and numbers for timing. What is it? FACE, and every good boy does fine.
Every good boy does fine. Yes.
Those are the notes. Um,
Did you take piano lessons? Because I remember that from that.
I, I I studied music. I took trumpet lessons, and I
Okay.
studied music. So letters symbolizes notes, and numbers were for timing. A waltz was 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and
Yep.
marches were 1, 2, 1, 2. So just as a composer uses letters for notes and numbers for timing, the letters in our name and the numbers in our birthday are symbols for the song we play in the symphony of life. We are God's song. We are God's song, and the letters and numbers reveal all of that.
That is so powerful. So, do you have a church?
I have a church without walls.
Okay. I just thought I
When
would ask
Jesus,
that.
when Jesus said, "Tear down this temple, I'll rebuild it in 3 days," everybody thought he was talking about the building. But what he was telling us was that our bodies are temples for the spirit that dwells within us. So we're never out of church. We're never out of church.
Yeah, I wish I had found you like a few years ago because I get that all the
Never
time.
too late. Better late than never.
Exactly. And everything works out exactly as it's supposed to, truly.
Yes, that's
Uh,
something important to remember. We are on God's time, so we
yes,
have to be patient, you know?
yes, yes,
We have to be patient. And this is a place where faith plays a very important role in all that we do.
yes, yes. I truly believe that. I always tell people, they say something, 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 and I say, life is a marathon, not a sprint.
That's
And so I
right.
have to tell myself that like
Very well
all the
put.
time.
Very well put.
I have to tell myself that all the time because I'm like, okay, why isn't this happening now? I've done this and I put this, this needs to be happening, and so then I hear my own words in my head. Life is a
Yes.
marathon, not a sprint, and it's like, okay. But this has been super exciting just to be talking to you about this because um there are not a lot of people that you can share this knowledge. I mean, and actually have this type of conversation with. So, where do you go to fill your cup?
Well, I go to God in prayer. Like I said, nobody came to me and said, "Here's a book on numerology, Craig." I was led to it. I was guided to it. And there's a number seven. That's my gift. There's a number seven, to have access to spiritual information. So I spend a lot of time by myself in quietude and solitude and meditation, reading, studying, and seeking guidance and listening for direction.
That's powerful. That is powerful.
Yeah, when you're a number seven, your opportunities come to you. If you go out and try to make something happen, if you try
Yeah.
to push when you're a number seven, the wheels fall off. So when you're a number seven, you have to pray until something happens. That's our push. PUSH. Pray until something happens.
That is so powerful. But it's so true. It is so true. All right. So I'm just super excited just to be talking to Dr. Wright. He has like lit a fire under me and has made me just think um, grander, on a larger scale. And so what I feel like that's one of the things, the gifts that God has given you to be able to just help people to be able to see and just open up their mind to God's goodness and God's graciousness. Um, is that something
That's
that,
that's very astute of you because my first name, the name Craig, is a number 11,
oh,
and that's the number of light and illumination. So you have confirmed for me that I am fulfilling my contract.
yes, you absolutely are. That's amazing. That's amazing. That is so amazing. So, Dr. Wright gave his information earlier, but I want him to just tell us again where he can be found, how you can reach out to him, his website, because I know that you are going to want to connect with him because he is an amazing, amazing man. So share your website and, how people can reach out to you. And like I said,
But
I will also have these in the description of the video and the audio as well. This way you'll have it there and you can reach out to him. But I want him to share it now.
okay, great. The website is www.craigewright.com. That's CRAIGEWRIGHT.com.
All right. All right. So that is Dr. Wright. I'm super excited. I'm so
Well,
grateful that
thank you.
you.
Thank you so much for the opportunity to share.
Yes, I was going to say, I'm so grateful just for the opportunity to be able to interview you because this has been fabulous. I learned so much from each and every person that I interview. And this is one of the reasons why I love doing this work because I learn just like you guys are learning. So I'm grateful that you guys have joined us here and definitely reach out to Dr. Wright if that this is something that even intrigues you because it intrigued me because to be honest with you, the way I was raised, all this stuff is of the devil. And clearly you listen to him talking, it's definitely not. And I'm grateful that he has taken his place because this is so needed in this time, especially in this time where we need to awaken, because this is where we are. I believe that this coronavirus has come not only just to be a purge, but also to be an awakening because people are
Yes,
waking up to the gratefulness, just being grateful. People are waking up to being grateful to God for just being alive, because so many
yes,
people have left here young and early, and it's not discriminatory, because it kills some people that are older and then it kills some young people. So it's not a
true.
discriminatory thing. And we don't know, it's not even racially discriminatory like they say. It's not even because it is taking out people all kinds of, ways. Young people, old people. I have a patient that he got the coronavirus and he just turned 107.
Mm,
He beat it,
awesome.
and yeah. So I thought that was awesome, and he's in a nursing home and he's 100 and he just turned 107, I think, a couple weeks ago. But he had the
High risk.
coronavirus. Yeah. He had the coronavirus last year. Beat it. And is doing fine. So
Amazing.
right. So, it's amazing, just to see that, this thing, like I said, is non-discriminatory. And so this time people need to awaken, and they need to be able to see, God for who he really is, for
Yes.
the true living God and how
Yes.
he has created us. And so I'm appreciative of Dr. Wright for his work in that area, because we need that. All right, so thank you so much for joining us again. Definitely check us out and check Dr. Wright out, because he is such an amazing numerologist, and I am so grateful that he has agreed to come on this show and speak to us today. So we're gonna take it there. Thank you so much for joining us, because we did kick it like good fellas. So bye.
I know you've been blown away with the amazing value here today. Now go out and inspire the planet. And be sure to send us a message when you're ready to come talk about it on Straight Outta Savannah, Talking with Tammi.